हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. On behalf of ISKCON Scarborough, I'm honored to welcome each one of you to this Friday evening program. Gita chapter 5 titled Karma Yoga Action in Krishna Consciousness, verse 18, and the page is 246. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Brahmane Gavihastini Sunichaiva Swapakecha Sunichaiva Swapakecha Pandita Samadarshina Pandita Samadarshina Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Sunichaiva Swapakecha Pandita Samadarshina. You can repeat after me word for word. Vidya, with education. Vinaya, and gentleness. Sampanne, fully equipped. Brahmane, in the Brahmana. Gavi, in the cow. Astini, in the elephant. Suni, in the dog. Cha, and. Eva, certainly. Swapake, in the dog eater, the outcast. Cha, respectively. Pandita, those who are wise. Samadarshina, who see with equal vision. Translation: the humble sages, by virtue of true knowledge, see with equal vision a learned and gentle Brahmana, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and a dog eater outcast. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. A Krishna conscious person does not make any distinction between species or caste. The Brahmana and the outcast may be different from the social point of view, or a dog, a cow, and an elephant may be different from the point of view of species, but these differences of body are meaningless from the viewpoint of a learned transcendentalist. This is due to their relationship to the Supreme, for the Supreme Lord, by His plenary portion as Paramatma, is present in everyone's heart. Such an understanding of the Supreme is real knowledge. As far as the bodies are concerned in different castes or different species of life, the Lord is equally kind to everyone because He treats every living being as a friend, yet maintains Himself as Paramatma regardless of the circumstances of the living entities. The Lord as Paramatma is present both in the outcast and in the Brahmana, although the body of the Brahmana and that of an outcast are not the same. The bodies are material productions of different modes of material nature, but the soul and the supersoul within the body are of the same spiritual quality. The similarity in the quality of the soul and the supersoul, however, does not make them equal in quantity. For the individual soul is present only in that particular body, whereas the Paramatma is present in each and every body. A Krishna conscious person has full knowledge of this, and therefore he is truly learned and has equal vision. The similar characteristics of the soul and supersoul are that they are both conscious, eternal, and blissful. But the difference is that the individual soul is conscious within the limited jurisdiction of the body, whereas the supersoul is conscious of all bodies. The supersoul is present in all bodies without distinction. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitamena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him and all the members of the Guru Parampara. Vancha kalpatirubhyascha kripa sindhubhyevacha patitanam papanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, who are just like desired trees, fulfilling the desires of everyone and are full of compassion for the fallen, conditioned souls. The translation again. The humble sages, by virtue of true knowledge, see with equal vision a learned and gentle Brahmana, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and a dog-eater outcast. So this is a wonderful verse which is often quoted by Srila Prabhupada. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada clearly describes that from a social point of view, a Brahmin and an outcast may be different or considered to be different. And from species point of view, a cow and a dog may be considered to be different. But from spiritual point of view, there is no distinction between a Brahmin and an outcast, or a cow or an elephant or a dog. And in this case, the cow, the elephant, and the dog, they actually represent not just three of these animals or three living entities, but the whole group, because each one represents different modes. So the cow represents mode of goodness, the elephant represents mode of passion, and the dog represents mode of ignorance. So every living entity or every animal is considered in these three examples. And also the Brahmin and the outcast may be in two ends of the spectrum from material point of view, but from spiritual lord's point of view, or even from the sage's point of view, they're all considered equal. Now, when we say speciesism, it is, we have heard some forbidden terms like racism, and here speciesism is actually not recognized here. Because speciesism means is discrimination against living entities based on the bodies that we have. And it is very prevalent, as all of us know, because slaughterhouses are there because of this speciesism, because it is considered so the cow or the chicken can be slaughtered. So it is speciesism. But in this verse, it's clearly explained that there's no difference between species. Everybody is considered to be equal. So that's the sum and substance of this particular verse. And here a learned sage, by virtue of true knowledge, sees with equal vision a cow or an elephant or a dog or a dog eater equally. So there is absolutely no difference in what is explained here within the living entities. And we'll also try to analyze each and every critical word in this translation. So here it is said, the humble sage. So let's start off with the first main word here, which is humble. So in this particular verse, if you can see the translation, the humble sages. So we'll try to slice and dice the different words in this translation. So humble. So the meaning of humble is pretty common. All of us may have heard different terms. One could be not proud. But when we say somebody is humble, can we say that that person is considered to be not proud of himself? So humble could mean not proud. And humble can also mean that that person considers himself to be insignificant. And humble can also mean that that person is very modest. So these are all different terms that we use when we think of the word humble. Now, for us to know a little bit more about this word humble or humility, it's a fascinating pastime in Chaitanya Charitamrita, where there is an exalted associate of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Lord Krishna himself, who appeared 527 years ago in West Bengal. He's a combined incarnation of Lord Krishna and Srimati Radharani. He came as a devotee of the Lord. He came in the mood and the color of Srimati Radharani. So he appeared 527 years ago, and a couple of months ago we celebrated the grand Gaura Purnima, the appearance day of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So here Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came with a lot of his associates, and one of the associates is Suklambar Brahmachari. You may have heard this great personality's name. So Suklambar Brahmachari, from social point of view, he is considered to be a beggar. He did not have any material wealth, and but from spiritual point of view, he was the wealthiest person because he had supreme devotion to the Lord. And he goes house to house to beg rice, and he's got a small bag, which is stone bag, and he stores the broken rice. And when a beggar goes to somebody's house, what do they get? They just get hard time. They don't get a lot of good things. So what he was getting was broken rice, and he was saving it in this stone bag. And once there was a grand kirtan that was going on. Actually, kirtan goes on every day in Srivas Angan. And Srivas Angan, by the way, is the epicenter of Harinam Sankirtan. That's where Harinam Sankirtan originated. And here, during the Kirtan, Suklambar Brahmachari was gracefully dancing, beautifully dancing to the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. And Lord Chaitanya, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, grabbed from Suklambar Brahmachari's bag handful of broken rice. It was not even offered. He did not even offer to the Lord. Because of the eternal love and affection of Suklambar Brahmachari, the Lord put the hand in the dirty bag and took the broken rice. Broken rice is something that many of us even will not use it. Here, Supreme Personality of Godhead took it and he started eating it because of the love and devotion of Suklambar Brahmachari. Right after he ate that rice, Suklambar Brahmachari was there and the other devotees, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recited series of verses which are very, very significant for all of us, and especially in this Kali Yuga. The first verse that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recited was from Brihan Naradiya Puran. Many of us may have heard it several times. Harar Nama, Harar Nama, Harar Nama Eva Kevalam, Kalo Nasteva, 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 Gatiranyada. There's no other way, there is no other way, there is no other way for self-realization in this age of Kali other than chanting of the holy name, chanting of the holy name, chanting of the holy name. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu categorically stated there's no other way 3 times, and the solution he repeated 3 times is the chanting of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Now, some of us may be wondering right after we read this verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita that, okay, there's no other way but to chant the Hare Krishna Mantra, but is that associating with the Lord? Because we have heard that associating with the Lord is most important. Now here, in the very next verse, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that there is no difference between the name and the form. So, Kalikala Nama Rupa Krishna Avatar, Nama Itaya Sarva Jagat Nishta. So, in this age of Kali, Supreme Personality of God, Lord Krishna, is descended in the form of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. And also, we also know from Padma Puran, wonderful verses, Nama Chintamani Krishna, Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha, Purna Suddho Nitya Mukto, Binatvan Namana. There's no difference between the name of the form, a name of the Lord, and the form of the Lord, and the qualities of the Lord, pastimes of the Lord. So then, how can we chant the name all the time? How can we chant the name? So we now know that there is no other way, no other way, no other way but to chant the names of the Lord. And we also know the names of the Lord and the form of the Lord is not different. then how can we chant the name without any offenses? How can we chant the name of the Lord all the time? So this significant verse is recited by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu right after this series of verses, and it is the third verse in this Shikshastaka. Trinadapi sunichena taroriva shagishnuna amanena manadena kirtaniya sadahari. So more humble than a blade of grass, more tolerant than a tree, ready to offer all respects and expect none in return. So here the first line is more humble than a blade of grass. So we are all still in the first line of this 5.18 where it is humble sages. The humble, so humility. So be more humble than a blade of grass. So it's difficult for us to comprehend this and put in perspective and practice this on a daily basis, but again with the association of devotees we'll be able to do this. More humble than a blade of grass. Now grass is so soft, so succulent, so luscious, so fragrant, green in color, and even when the cows and the calves stamp on it, it goes flat and then still it comes back ready to be eaten by the cows and calves. And because of that, the cows are able to give wonderful milk, and we are able to offer it to the Lord and please the Lord, perform our devotional service, and then honor the prasadam as well from the milk products. So that is the greatness of this grass, and what we can learn from grass according to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is being humble like the blade of grass. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right after he said this, quoted this particular verse, he said, I am lifting my hands and please hear me. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, said, right after he quoted this Trinadapi Sunichena verse, I am lifting my arms and I am going to tell you something and hear me. And he told in front of all the devotees. String this verse, Trinadapi Sunichena verse, in the string of Mahamantra, the string of the holy name in your neck for continued remembrance. So when we have a name tag as well, when we have a badge for our work, it's for us to have all access everywhere, and also for others to know about us or others to read that. So when we wear this particular verse in the thread of the holy name, then everyone else and we can be constantly remembering the essence of this particular verse. It's being more humble than a blade of grass. So this is the first part, humble. Then the second part of it is the sages. Now sages are pandits. How do we know who's a sage or a pandit? So the cardinal rule here according to our acharyas is we cannot decide who's a sage by the color of the dress that somebody wears. Just because somebody is wearing a particular color of a robe, it could be orange or whatever it is, it does not mean, according to our acharyas, that they are a sage. It does not mean the type of hairstyle somebody has, lack of hair or no hair or a particular type of hair, that does not determine who a sage is. So then who's a sage? There are many characteristics that are described in Srimad Bhagavatam, but the cardinal characteristics or the main characteristics are the quality of dependence on the Lord. So if a person is totally dependent on the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then he is considered to be a pandit or a sage. And the second characteristic is service attitude. When somebody is into the service attitude, then that is directly proportional to somebody defining or calling him or determined to be a sage. So these are the two characteristics of sage. And when we mentioned that our acharyas say it is not determined by the external appearance, we are just giving some specific examples as to the color of the robe or the hairstyle. But in general, it's not by external appearance. And we hear several pastimes from Vedic literatures. From the 4th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, many of you would have read during Prithu Maharaj's pastimes. So Prithu Maharaj is performing the 100th Aswamedha Yajna. It's like the universal record. Nobody has done this 100 Aswamedha Yajna or sacrifice. And in many other pastimes in Srimad Bhagavatam, we get to know how Indra always is envious when somebody is performing wonderful deeds. He always thinks that they are going to take his kingdom away. And so he does something to disrupt this sacrifice. And in this case, he wants to break up this 100th Aswamedha Yajna. So he comes in the form of a sannyasi. And Prabhupada in the purport in the 4th canto says that is the start of some of these cheaters who come in the form of sage to exploit people of money. So it is again not by the external appearance, but by the quality of dependence on the Lord and by the service attitude of this person. And another example that we can think of is in Chaitanya Charitamrita itself. Maybe we'll hear this a little bit more during today's class. Is a group of so-called sannyasis in South India, in Malabar district. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to all the southern part of India during the rainy months, he was in Srirangam for 4 months, and then he traveled in the Malabar area. And in Malabar area there are Nambudri Brahmins from South India. If you're there, you'll recognize this name, Nambudri Brahmins. And Nambudri Brahmins have Bhattataris, a group called Bhattataris as their priest. And Prabhupada in his purport says Bhattataris are ones who follow black magic, and then they capture women, and then they keep in their group, and they capture more women, more men, and they increase their population. So they are not sannyasis as they look, and they indulge in all sorts of sinful activities. So it's not by external appearance that one can be determined as a sage, but by the quality of dependence on the Lord and by their service attitude. So that is a sage. And the other characteristics of the sage is, one is tolerant, being very tolerant. So in the verse that we heard, Trinada Pisunichena, Tharoriva Saishnana. Tharoriva Saishnana means more tolerant than a tree. So here again the example that is given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Supreme Personality of God himself, is the tree is very, very tolerant. It gives amazing shade on a blistering hot summer day. So when we go underneath the tree, we feel energized because it's very, very cool underneath the tree, because the shade that we get from the tree, from the leaves and the trunk and the branches, and it gives luscious fruits, fragrant flowers, all that the tree provides. And when the tree is cut and the tree does not protest, and when the tree is dragged to be made into a firewood, the tree does not protest. Of course the tree cannot protest, but here the example is given is we have this free will for us to choose what we want to do, what we don't have to do, or what we cannot do. Here the free will here is similar to the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, where the Avaduta is actually learning from 24 different gurus. He's learning from Python, he's learning from the fishes. It's not just what to do, but also what not to do by looking at fishes, because the fishes fall for the tongue. What not to do from elephant, because the elephant is attracted to the she elephant and it falls into the hole and gets destroyed and gets captured. Similarly, what not to do or what to do from python. The python does not go after its food. It just stays in one place. Whatever comes meager, tasty, it takes. So in this case, the tree actually gives even so much of fragrance to the tip of the axe that cuts the tree. Because if the axe is used to cut a sandalwood tree, it gives the beautiful sandalwood fragrance to the tip, the sharp point of the axe, and it does not protest, and it's gone. So those are all the characteristics of a tree, being more tolerant than a tree. Even after the tree is dead, it is used actually to build houses for us to be warm inside, to build temples. You can see this all wood here. Where does the wood come? So it's all coming from the tree. So here, one of the characteristics of a sage is being more tolerant. So we heard about humble, and then the characteristics of a sage, one of the characteristics is being very, very tolerant. And the other characteristic of a sage is compassion. Compassion we can loosely describe ahimsa or non-violence, but in a more deeper level, compassion means empathy. So many of you would have heard this term, empathy. Empathy means understanding a problem of someone else and feeling for that particular person's problem. That is empathy. And on a deeper level, empathy becomes sympathy. Sympathy is reacting to somebody's grief. So that means you start to do some action. That is the sympathy. So this is referred to in Sanskrit as paradukka dukhi. That means other person's problem or this person's problem. Other person's happiness is this person's happiness. So that is paradukka dukhi. And that is one of the characteristics of a sage. So sage is not you cannot define a sage, or you cannot categorically state that somebody is a sage based on appearance, but dependence on the God, quality of the dependence on the Lord, and also by the service attitude, and they have this humility, and then they have this tolerance. They're very, very tolerant, as well as they're very compassionate. They have this empathy as well as sympathy. But in Kali Yuga, it is said, do not tell your problem to others. Why? 20% of the people who hear your problem, they don't care. And if you may be thinking, okay, other 80% do care, right? The other 80% are glad that you had the problem. Is that not true? In Kali Yuga, it's unfortunate. So, do not tell your problem to others, it is said, because 20% don't care and 80% are glad that you had the problem. So that is, in a way, we are going through the, slicing and dicing the translation of this 5.18, the humble sage by virtue of true knowledge. So we know what is humble, we define that. How do you know who's a sage? We've also defined that or explained that. The next part of it is by virtue of true knowledge. Is that right? What does it say? The humble sage by virtue of true knowledge? So, true knowledge, yes, knowledge, yeah, material sense, yeah, somebody may get a PhD, they have to study to become a doctor, to become an engineer, all that is knowledge, but it is material knowledge. It's very temporary knowledge because it will change all the time. But here, true knowledge means it is not the knowledge that we get through our material education. That is not the true knowledge here. That's knowledge, and the difference is here it's true knowledge. So what is this true knowledge? Knowledge that we get from the Vedic literatures. Knowledge that we get when we associate with devotees, when we hear the pastimes of the Lord. So that is referred to as true knowledge. And in the purport, Prabhupada said true knowledge is to understand that there is Paramatma in everyone's heart. So true knowledge is understanding the truth of Krishna. Ihare prasade paya. There's a wonderful verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Ihare prasade paya. Krishna tattva sara. Krishna tattva sara. For those of you who speak Tamil, sarana, it's like essence. So Ihare prasada means understanding the pastimes of the Lord. When you understand the pastimes of the Lord, you get to know the truth. Krishna tattva. Tattva means truth. And sara means is the essence of the truth of Lord Krishna. Sarva Shastra Siddhantere Iyan Paiba Pava. So once you get to hear the pastimes of the Lord, you get to know the essence of the truth of Lord Krishna. And once you get to know the essence of the truth of Lord Krishna, Sarva Shastra Siddhantere. Siddhantere means conclusion. Sarva Shastra means all the Vedic knowledge. So here you get to know the limit of all the knowledge explained in the Vedic literature. So the starting point is when we hear the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which we will do in the next few minutes to understand how Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who's Lord Krishna himself, is following the instructions of Lord Krishna, who's also the same supreme person. So we'll hear that in the next few minutes. So here it is said true knowledge means understanding that we are not the body, but we are the spirit souls. And understanding true knowledge means that the real problem that all of us have is this birth, death, old age and disease, the wheel of samsara that all of us have got caught in. And yes, we do have problems, not to say that we don't have problem, money problem, bill problem, job problem. So we do have all those problems, but those absolutely are not considered to be a bigger problem according to Vedic literature. Those are all temporary problems which will come and go. But the main problem that we have is because if you're not born, then you'll not get any more bills. Is that right? You'll not have bills to pay because you're not even born. So the main problem is we are born, we will become old, we will have disease and we will die. We cannot escape from this if you're born on earth. So the true knowledge is getting out of this wheel of samsara. The true problem that we have is birth, death, old age and disease, not the main problem of money or other problems. And also getting to know that even if we do some good in the mode of goodness, we will go to the higher planetary system within the material world, but we'll have to come back. Abrahma Bona Loka, Punaravarti Norjuna, Mamu Petite Kaunteya, Punarjanma Navidyate. From the highest planet in the material world, Brahma Loka, down to the lowest, all are places of misery where repeated birth and death takes place. But Krishna says, once you come to my abode, you will not have to return again. So these are all the true knowledge, understanding that we are not the body, that we are the spirit soul, Satchidananda, eternal existence, eternal knowledge, eternal bliss is our quality. That is what Prabhupada in this purport is explaining. And even if you go to any higher planetary system, we'll have to come back and Aham Sarvasya Prabho Matta Sarva Pravatite, and knowing that the Supreme Personality of God is Lord Krishna and all the spiritual and material worlds emanate from him. So these are all true knowledge. It's called as Vidya. Avidya means ignorance. So that's opposite of knowledge. True knowledge is ignorance. And ignorance is like our acharyas explain, it's like a disease. And every disease has got a symptom, is that right? When somebody's got tuberculosis, maybe they cough. So the symptom is the cough. When they are not well, they have a fever. So fever is the symptom. Here, it is said, for just like there are symptoms, the symptoms of ignorance are lust, anger, greed, envy, pride, and illusion. So we do have all of this in varying degrees, some more, some less, some very minimal, but we all have these symptoms of ignorance in us which need to be taken out. This is contamination that cannot be taken out. It's dirt sitting in the core of our heart that will not come out in spite of many soaps that we use, Little soap or Lux soap, any soap that we use, we cannot take this dirt out. It's deep inside the core of our heart, which can come out only by chanting. So when we chant the name of the Lord, perform devotional service, our acharyas explain that these symptoms are taken out. Just like, when we go to a doctor with a problem, we have Mataji who's an expert doctor here. So when we go to the doctor with a problem, the doctor actually tells us the do's and don'ts. Is that not right? The doctor will say, if you have this problem, do this, but don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. Is that right? I'm hoping that's what every doctor says. So somebody is going with some high cholesterol, so the doctor will say, eat this, take this medicine, don't do this, do exercise. So like that, when we have this problem, or when we have this symptom of ignorance, which is lust, anger, greed, envy, pride, and illusion, our acharyas teach us, who are the doctors, they teach us, do this and don't do this. What are the do's? The do's are associate with devotees, perform devotional service, chant the holy names of the Lord, hear the pastimes of the Lord. Those are all the do's. And what are the don'ts for us to get out of this disease? The don'ts are, don't get involved into the 4 pillars of sin, no intoxication, meat eating. Those are all the don'ts. So when we follow the do's and don't follow and leave out the don'ts, then our disease of ignorance is cured. So that is the sum and substance of this particular verse that we are reading. A humble sage by virtue of true knowledge. So we know what is humble, who's a sage, by virtue of true knowledge. What is true knowledge, and the difference between true knowledge and mundane or material knowledge, and what is ignorance, which is the opposite of knowledge. And once we cleanse ourselves, what happens? When we cleanse ourselves of this lust, anger, greed, envy, pride, and illusion, then the love of God is manifested. Nitya Siddha Krishna Preme Sadhya Kabunai Shavanadi Suddha Siddha Kare Uday. So love of God is established in the heart of every living entity. It does not have to be taken from outside. It's already there. All you need to do is take out all this contamination, and then you get to see that lust, anger, greed, envy, pride. It's an unwanted thing. So once we cleanse of this unwanted thing, then the love of God is visible. It's actually manifested in the core of our heart. So with that being said about this particular verse 5.18, a humble sage by virtue of true knowledge sees with equal vision a cow, an elephant, a dog and a dog eater, and a Brahmin, all in equal vision, Sama Darshina. So this is the teaching of Lord Krishna to Arjun, and this is followed by all the sages or Pandits. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Lord Krishna himself, as we mentioned, he appeared 527 years ago in West Bengal. And they say for those of you who work in quality circle, they say, there is some certification which is called as ISO certification. So in a nutshell, what is ISO certification? Say what you do what you say, prove it and improve it. Simple. And if you have this, I just saw a picture of Tihar jail. This is close to Delhi, and they put some heavy-duty convicts in this Tihar jail, and it's got wonderful, yoga program and things like that. So in Tihar jail, the inmates of Tihar jail donated, I think, 10 lakh rupees to the flood victims of Uttarakhand. So which is very unfortunate it had happened. So tomorrow we'll be chanting this 64 rounds. We'll be dedicating the chanting to all the devotees who lost their life in this tragic circumstance. So here, the inmates of Tihar jail had donated 10 lakh rupees for the flood victims. Is that not amazing? And there was a wonderful picture of this Tihar jail, and there outside it says ISO 9001 2008 certified. Tihar jail is certified. You can actually get this ISO certification to any place. Even a temple can be certified, because it is say what you do what you say, prove it and improve it. So here Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is following exactly what he had said as Lord Krishna, Samadarshina, to treat everybody equally. So there's a wonderful pastime that I would like to narrate with your permission. This is from the 17th chapter of the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So right after the Rath Yatra in Jagannath Puri during the season of autumn, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spoke to a couple of his associates, and they are eternal associates of the Lord, intimate associates of the Lord, Ramananda Rai and Swarup Damodar Goswami. Now Ramananda Rai, some of you may have heard this great personality's name, but even if you are hearing this for the first time, it's very auspicious, because Ramananda Rai is a combined incarnation. Actually, he's also Vishaka. Vishaka is one of the Ashtasakis who is so close to Srimati Radharani, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came in the mood and the color of Srimati Radharani. So there is so much of intimacy between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Rai, who's Vishaka herself. And also it is said that Ramananda Rai is a combined incarnation of Pandava Arjun as well as a gopi named Arjunia. So Lord Krishna himself has come. So Lord Krishna has got this attachment towards Arjun, Pandava Arjun, as well as in the mood of Srimati Radharani, got this great attraction for Vishaka. So they had wonderful intimate association, and this eternal pastimes of the Lord all the time. So that is Ramananda Rai. And Swarup Damodar Goswami is an expert musician like Gandharva, and it is said that his knowledge is as great as Brihaspati. And by the way, Brihaspati came during Gauri Leela as Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. So here the Lord discussed about his desire to go from Jagannath Puri to Vrindavan. And the Lord said, I would like to go alone. I do not want any of my associates. And the reason is, if the Lord chooses one of the associates, other associates will be distraught because they cannot travel with the Lord. So the Lord said, I want to go alone. And the Lord, it's a wonderful lesson during this pastime. The first lesson for all of us is the Lord, Supreme Personality of Godhead, is asking permission from others before he embarks on a journey, or before he does anything. And this is nothing new for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If you remember earlier, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, before he took sannyas initiation, this is, you can read it from Chaitanya Mangal by Lochan Das Thakur. So here the Lord is actually going to his mother Sachi, and asking permission. Mother, I would like to take sannyas initiation. Please give me your blessings. Supreme Personality of Godhead is asking. So this is a wonderful lesson for all of us. And of course, Mother Sachi is crying, and she did not want Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to take initiation. He was so young. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu goes on to explain about the pastimes of Dhruva Maharaj, how Mother Suniti gave the permission and gave this wonderful instruction to go to the forest and meditate on the Lord. She was the Guru. And then Diksha Guru is Narada Muni. Later on, he gave the mantra Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So then, after he recited this wonderful Dhruva Maharaj's pastime, then Mother Sachi gave him the permission to take sannyasi initiation. Later on, after he took sannyasi initiation, he was supposed to go to Vrindavan, and Nityananda Prabhu diverted him to Shantipur. There's a wonderful pastime. And later on, he came to Mother Sachi again and asked, where do you want me to practice devotional service after my sannyasi initiation? Is that in Jagannath Puri or Vrindavan? And then Mother Sachi said, I would be very, very happy and fortunate if you can stay in Jagannath Puri because it's closer to Navadvip. And she said Navadvip and Jagannath Puri are like 2 rooms in the same house. So if you can practice in Jagannath Puri, that will be great. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu followed the instructions of his mother Sachi. So here Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is asking the permission from Ramananda Rai and Swarup Damodar Das. But he says, please give me your permission in all happiness. I want you to be happy and give me permission before I go. And Ramananda Rai and Swarup Damodar Das said, my dear Lord, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Whatever you decide, please do. But you said that your happiness is our happiness. All we are requesting you is to take one person with you as your assistant. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu puts in a couple of mild conditions. He says that person should be having a peaceful mind, he should be determined, and he should not be agitated by ulterior motives. Why does the Lord say that? Now we are in the 17th chapter of Chaitanya Charitamrita. We'll have to backtrack and go to the 9th chapter of Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela, where the Lord went to South India, as we mentioned earlier. He went with a servant by the name of Kala Krishna Dasa. And when they went to Malabar district, Nambudiri Brahmins were there, and their guide and spiritual masters are Bhattataris, and they are supposed to be, practicing black magic, and they are sort of not real sannyasis. And then the women of that group captured Kala Krishna Dasa because he fell for that. He was not determined at that time. And this is a wonderful lesson for all of us. This Kala Krishna Dasa was a servant of Supreme Personality of God, the ultimate God, and he still fell down because he was captured by this women. So even in the best of associations, we'll have to be really, really careful. Otherwise, we'll be trapped by Maya. We have also heard this wonderful pastime of Saubari Muni. He was in the association of Yamuna River. Can you beat that association? He was in the association of Yamuna River, deep inside Yamuna River, not in the shores of Yamuna River, deep inside the Yamuna River. But because he saw the fishes, they were in this mood, and he fell down, he got married to 50 of the daughters of a king, and got into this material way of life, and he lost all the powers that he had because he used that to become young. And then later on, again, he practiced devotional service. So the lesson here is, even in the best of associations, we'll have to be very, very vigilant. Otherwise, we'll fall into the trap of Maya, just like Kala Krishna Dasa fell. So here, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, I want somebody who's determined, who's got peaceful mind, and who's not agitated by ulterior motives. And then they propose Balabhadra Bhattacharya, another servant. And this Balabhadra Bhattacharya, because he's very advanced in spiritual consciousness, he's got so much of love for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted Balabhadra Bhattacharya as a servant. And they also proposed, because Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said yes to one servant, they also said, why don't we give you the second servant? Because that second servant can actually carry your water pot and your clothes. So in this way, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu decided to go to Vrindavan from Jagannath Puri incognito. Incognito means in disguise, so that there's no crowd surrounding him. And he deliberately did not take the main route, and he took this forest route. So he pierced deep into this jungle, the forest, and it is called as, anybody remembers? Jarikand forest. So in Toronto Temple, when you're sitting and hearing the lecture, right on top you will see all these animals who are the tigers and the monkeys, and all of them are dancing. Have you seen that in Toronto Temple? So if you've not seen, take a look at it consciously when you go this Sunday. So when you're sitting to hear the lecture, just take your eyes about 30 degrees up, and then you'll be able to see that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu dancing with all the animals. Wonderful. So this is the pastime. This is the 17th chapter of Madhya Leela in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So here, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with Balabhadra Bhattacharya and the other servant are going through this jungle. And as they are going, there's a big herd of tigers, elephants, wild boars. They're also coming towards them. And immediately as they came close to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Balabhadra Bhattacharya, the second servant, they all parted and gave way to the Lord to go. And Balabhadra Bhattacharya cannot believe what he's seeing, because they are wild animals here, mad and elephants, they're all moving. And we heard the word empathize and sympathize. We can all empathize for Balabhadra Bhattacharya, because he's all watching this in amazement, because sometimes we go to, how many of you have been to African lion safari? Quite a few of you. Now when you go to African lion safari, even though all the windows are totally up, you're safe, and there are also the park personalities there in different jeeps, still you're slightly scared. Even this innocuous giraffe and a zebra and ostrich may come close to your window. Is that right? Just imagine, or when you go near the lions, how it's a little bit scary. So we can all empathize with what Balabhadra Bhattacharya went through. But nothing happened to him. He was fully protected because the Lord is always with him. And similarly, for us also, the Lord is always with us when we chant the names of the Lord, when we are in danger. We don't have to go and test this next time when we go, whether this will work. No, when we are in danger, we always chant the Narsimha Pranam, Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and we will be protected. So Balabhadra Bhattacharya is fully protected because the Lord is with him. Similarly, the Lord is with us when we chant the holy name of the Lord. And this pastime gets more interesting. So we have 5 more minutes. So if you can fasten your seat belts, we'll go a little bit fast through this Jharkhand forest. So here it gets more interesting. The Lord, next day when he's passing through the forest, there is a tiger that is sleeping on the way. The Lord gently kicks the tiger, and the tiger looks up, and the Lord says, chant the holy name of the Lord. And the tiger chants the name Krishna, Krishna. And then I would like to read this. There are several verses here. The Lord said, chant the holy name of Krishna. The tiger immediately got up and began to dance and to chant Krishna, Krishna. This is according to Chaitanya Charitamrita. Similarly, after some time he was actually taking bath in a river, and he was chanting the Gayatri Mantra. So now for those of you who are second initiated, kindly pay attention. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is chanting the Gayatri Mantra in a river. And what does he do? There are maddened elephants that are coming towards them. He takes the water, maddened elephant, these are not docile elephants, maddened elephant, it is said according to Chaitanya Charitamrita. He takes the water from the river, splashes this on the wild elephants, and says, chant the holy name of the Lord. And then the elephants start chanting Krishna, Krishna, and then they start rolling in ecstasy according to Chaitanya Charitamrita. Then after that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu starts to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra very loudly as he's going through the forest. Another lesson, as I mentioned earlier, there are wonderful lessons in the 17th chapter of the Madhya Leela. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is chanting the holy name so loudly. Again, we all have this doubt. Should we chant the name loudly or can we chant the name softly? And there's so many explanations as to why we have to chant the name loudly, because Haridas Thakur gave this explanation. When we chant the name loudly, not only we are benefiting, but also all the small insects, the inanimate trees and the shrubs and the grass, they also benefit from this chanting. So that is why we have to chant loudly. And here Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is chanting loudly, and it is said that does are female deers and bucks are male deer. So deer is a collective term for a buck and a doe. So here the buck and they're following Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Another lesson, you follow in the footsteps of great Mahajano Ena Gata Sarpanta, literally. So when we go on a parikrama, we may go to Vrindavan, and then Dinabandhu Prabhu is there. Is Grace Dinabandhu Prabhu who takes us on this parikrama. We don't go in front of him. So here, just like the deer, the buck and them, they were following. So we follow the great Mahajano Ena Gata Sarpanta. So they follow him. And right after that, the tiger also starts following this deer. Have you ever heard this? The tiger and the deer not fighting with each other, but they're chanting the names of the Lord because of the association of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and also followed by all the birds and the peacocks. They're also rolling on the ground and chanting and dancing to the holy name of the Lord. And then the trees and the shrubs, they are so jubilant because of the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. And it is said that the trees were crying when they heard the chanting in the form of honey. So honey is dripping from the trees. It's an explanation that is given as to how they were in ecstasy and crying when they heard the holy name of the Lord. So here, The verse that we are reading today is the humble sage, by virtue of true knowledge, sees with equal vision a Brahmin, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and a dog eater with equal vision. So here Chaitanya Mahaprabhu treated everybody equally, Krishna to everybody, and he was penetrating deep inside this jungle. They were tribal communities of uncivilized people, like Chandalas, like the dog eaters that is mentioned in this. And Prabhupada, in actually the verse itself, it is said Beels, Beels. They are considered to be tribal people who will eat dogs and anything lower than that as well. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he went, he gave the names of Krishna to them freely. He did not hold back. No, you are a dog eater, I cannot give it to you. So when they heard the holy name of the Lord, they were actually chanting the holy name of the Lord, and more people were hearing from the chanting of the Beels who recited the names of the Lord, and from them another group of people heard the holy names of the Lord. So all of them were getting spiritualized because of the holy names of the Lord that was first recited by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because he is the Mahavadanyavatar. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pratayata. That's what Rupa Goswami is the most munificent incarnation of the Lord, Patita Pavan Avatar. So they are fallen, the most fallen beings, and he's giving Lord Krishna to them freely. So this is a perfect pastime from the 17th chapter of Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, where it is said, say what you do what you say. So Lord Krishna said, this is what you should do, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is doing what he himself has said as Krishna. In material terms we say walk your talk, right? So here Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is proving to all of us how it is easy to look in the spiritual platform, where there is no difference in the social status, there is no difference in the different species, and in spiritual point of view, the cow and the dog and the Brahmin and the dog eater are all considered to be equal, one and the same. We have a few more minutes. So we have any questions at this point in time? So we'll try to answer any of the questions that you may have. If you don't have any questions, we can proceed with more pastimes as we go through this particular 17th chapter of Chaitanya Charitamrita till the pujaris are ready. Is that okay? Okay, so here Balabhadra Bhattacharya, who's the servant, he actually collects all these fruits and vegetables from... You ready? Okay. Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Rama Rama Hari Hari Hare जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस प्रजिकाचार्य श्रील एसी भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की फाउंडर आचार्य इस्कॉन ग्रुप श्रील चरणारविंद भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय नमो निखिल प्रवेश परमहंस प्रजिकाचार्य श्रील भक्तिवेदांत सरस्वती ठाकुर गोस्वामी महाराज प्रभुपाद की नामाचार्य श्रील हरिदास ठाकुर की जय गंगामय की जय यमुनामय की जय श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपनाथ राधा कृष्ण श्याम कुंड गिरि गोविंदारी की जय जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रमय की जय वृंदावन धाम की जय मायापुर नवदीप धाम की जय मथुरा धाम की जय पूरी धाम की जय प्रेम से कहो जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय हरिनाम संकीर्तन महायज्ञ की जय श्री श्री राधा गोपी वल्लभ की जय श्री श्री राधा गोपी वल्लभ की जय प्रहलाद नरसिंह की जय भक्ति देवी तुलसी देवी की जय समवेद भक्तवृंद की जय गौ सीताराम के मंत्र all glorious assembled devotees, all glorious assembled devotees, all glorious assembled devotees, all glorious to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga, all glorious to Srila Prabhupada, all glorious to Srila Gurudev. Gau Sitaram ke mantra.
नमस्ते नरसिंहाय नमस्ते नरसिंहाय नमस्ते नरसिंहाय नमस्ते नरसिंहाय Hare
विघ्न विनाशक लक्ष्मी नरसिंह स्वामी देव की, भक्तराज प्रहलाद महाराज की, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की।
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So on behalf of all the devotees here at ISKCON Scarborough, we'd like to welcome each and every one of you here today. Thank you all for coming. We're glad you came and we hope you come again. We'd specifically like to thank and welcome the new devotees that are here today. Is there anyone who's here for the first time? Anyone? Welcome, welcome, welcome all of you. Thank you for coming. We'd also like to welcome Mother Satyabhama and her son Mukunda, who are visiting today. They're visiting from ISKCON Toronto. Welcome. So we'd like to thank also, while we're thanking, we'd like to thank Ananda Gauranga Prabhu for a wonderful, wonderful discourse once again. Thank you. I'd like to thank Paripurnam Krishnadas Prabhu for a wonderful rendering of Gaur Arti. Thank you. And speaking of Gaur Arti, we'd like to thank Mother Pushparani for doing a wonderful Arti ceremony. We'd also like to thank the Yogin Gopis for wonderful singing of the Machinda prayers. Thank you. We'd like to thank Mother Sushila Radha and Vijay Tali Prabhu for all the flower decorations that you see everywhere. That was so lovingly put together. Thank you. Also, we'd like to thank the sponsors. So Ananda Gauranga Prabhu, he sponsored last Sunday's feast, today's feast, and tomorrow's feast. So Prabhu has so kindly offered, donated about $1,200 for the sponsoring of all these feasts. Thank you. So we'd just like to take a moment to remind everyone that there are many wonderful sponsorship opportunities. So if you feel inspired to sponsor for something like flowers for the Lord, flower garlands, if you would like to sponsor a program for an anniversary or for a birthday or something like that, please see one of the devotees and they'll be glad to help you. We'd also like to thank Atul Prabhu. He sponsored the last Swati Nakshatra feast. He wasn't here that day, and we have a beautiful gift for you. So we'd like to ask Radha Govinda Hari Prabhu to give you that gift as you come forward. So we have a target. We have a target of 2,000 Bhagavad Gitas that we have to distribute this year. So we're distributing a Bhagavad Gita today as part of our 2,000 Bhagavad Gita target distribution program. We'd also like to call on T.S. Vardarajan Prabhu and Mother Mahalakshmi. Please come forward. Today is their 50th wedding anniversary. So we'd like to wish you a happy wedding anniversary and 50 more to come. So please come forward and accept a small gift.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai. So both Vardarajan Prabhu and Mother Mahalakshmi told me earlier before the announcements that they will memorize the Bhagavad Gita, and next year on their anniversary they'll recite the whole Bhagavad Gita by memory, and they will also tell the translation for each verse. So back to the sponsorship. So part of tomorrow's sponsorship that Ananda Gauranga Prabhu and family are doing, it's our third annual 64 round day. So for the last 3 years, they've sponsored this day on the Canada Day long weekend. And this year is no different. They're sponsoring it tomorrow. So we'd like to invite everyone to come again tomorrow, but this time to come starting at 8 a.m. Not at 8 p.m., but at 8 a.m. And we'll have a full day of chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra congregationally together. Not as kirtan, but as japa. So we'll have some Tulsi Devi set up in the room, and devotees will come. They can sit around Tulsi Devi and chant together. Sorry?
8 to 5.
Yes, from 8 to approximately 5 or 6 p.m. We'll serve breakfast, so don't worry about having to wake up and cook. When you come here, breakfast will be available. And as you chant into the morning and you start feeling hungry, lunch will be available. And as you keep on chanting and you become hungry, not just hungry for the holy name, but also hungry for some sustenance, then we'll have dinner available, early dinner.
The ripened fruit of Bhagavad will start.
Yes, and then if you feel so enthusiastic, you can also stay on for the Saturday evening program, where I was reminded that the ripened fruit of Vedic knowledge, Srimad Bhagavatam, will be recited, starting at 7 p.m. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So now we'd like to ask the couple to come again, Vardarajan Prabhu and Mother Mahalakshmi. Please come to the front. And please chant Hare Krishna to encourage them to come closer to Krishna.
Hare
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
So now if you'd like to join me, we're going to sing a little song. Happy anniversary to you. Happy anniversary to you. Happy anniversary, both of you. Happy anniversary to you. Happy 50.
Hare
Hare Krishna to you. Hare Krishna to you. Hare Krishna, both of you. Hare Krishna to you. Hare Rama to you. Hare Rama to you. Hare Rama, both of you. Hare Rama to you. Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
So now, one of the most important events of the evening, prasadam. So generally, devotees line up to the back room for prasadam, but today,
Shri Radhe,
Shri Radhe
Jai Shri,
Jai